So you've watched the YouTube videos, you've read the threads, you've cloned the repos, and you still haven't built anything that actually works the right way. The problem is that every tutorial just shows you the demo and it doesn't show you when things break and what to do after the demo. So this video is the part after the demo. Every AI agent tutorial shows you the happy path and nobody shows you the agents actually breaking, which unfortunately happens a lot. The other thing is that one agent can't handle everything. It's not meant to handle everything. You're meant to build agents that run in parallel that handle different tasks at the same time. Real successful teams have roles, and your AI agents should have those roles as well. For your first time building an AI agent, pick one job, whether that's the code writer, the copywriter, the researcher, whatever it is that you need it to do, pick the one job for one agent. The second part is to pick your tool. You can use N8N, Zapier, Claude API, it doesn't matter. Pick whatever tool that you're comfortable with. I pick Claude because that's my favorite go-to tool right now, and I feel like it does everything that I need. Once you've defined your first agent, we need to give it a set of instructions, rules for it to follow. So the structure is very simple. Input, instruction, loop. Now, I promise you, no matter what you build, it's going to fail the first time. You could have Claude write an entire N8N workflow. You might think it's gonna work and you're gonna run it and it's not gonna work. Unfortunately, AI is not at the point where it's fully autonomous. So while AI does do a lot, like again, Claude writing a full N8N workflow, you need to babysit it. You need to test it manually and you need to give feedback to your agent so it knows what it's doing wrong. A cool trick that you could do is, especially if you're using Claude, is to just create a Claude.md file and tell it to update as you work on this project so that it learns from its own mistakes. So for instance, if you're having Claude build you an N8N workflow, have it update the instructions of what it did wrong so that the next time it goes back to try and do something similar, hence when you go to build your second agent, it already knows what it's come across the first time around, what it needs to avoid that second time around or third time around, and it's going to implement it from the start. So you kind of reduce redundancy over time like that. Now there's three things that every agent needs once they're built. Every agent needs a role, a tool, and a guardrail. So we basically just covered those three things. Go ahead and implement them and then move on to the next section. If you stack too many tasks to one agent and you don't give it a role, a tool, and a guardrail, it's gonna give you that AI slop that you hear about, that garbage output. The point of AI is to imitate the human brain, the human way of thinking, right? Think of it like this. If you worked at a newspaper company, newspaper companies are not run by one person, right? That's because each individual person within that company does something specific. One person researches, one person gets photography, one person writes, one person publishes, one person markets. And a lot of the time it's even more than one person. Obviously, AI is good at narrowing it down so that you can have one agent running one task. The other problem is giving too much context to the AI. You actually don't want to give it too much context, and this is something we call context window bloat. If you give it too much window bloat, it actually gets confused and it starts to give you things that aren't accurate. We also want to avoid role drift, which is where your AI agent basically forgets who it is. You don't want that, and that's a very common thing when you have your AI agent doing 50 tasks at the same time. If you make it very simple with clear instructions that it has one task and one task only, you won't get that role drift and you're gonna get much better output. So there's a couple of AI agents that you actually need basically no matter what kind of usage you're doing with your AI agent. Firstly, you need a researcher, a writer, a reviewer, and a publisher. And again, each agent gets one job, one prompt, and one output. What we want to do is have basically a handoff agent that lays between all of these other agents, and it hands off the output of one agent over to the next one. The reviewer agent is also one of the most important because it reviews all the work that your previous agents did, and actually you can even set these up to review every single thing that they've done. They can even run concurrently as you're making changes on your agents or as your agents are generating output. So if you want the most simple solution, just make sure that your agents are all running under one tool. So let's say you want to run Claude, just keep everything within Claude. You don't really need a bunch of different AI agents that all run together. Claude communicates really well with itself, so stick to one. If you can build your system this way, you'll now have a repeatable production system. And what's the number one thing that all major successful companies have. A repeatable production system, right? You're repeating. Once they've got that system down, the work goes away, it lightens up, and then basically it runs itself. Your new agent builds now has replaced hours of manual work and even having to hire people. You don't need to hire people once you've got a full running system. Now, don't get me wrong, just because you built it this way doesn't mean it's actually going to work 100%. And rely on your customer feedback, rely on your friends to tell you their input. You gotta just stay on top of this until you've got it going well. And eventually you're gonna scale this up and you probably don't have to touch it ever again. Now, in my next video, I'm gonna be talking about some common things that have happened from when I've built my AI agents and how to fix it and how to avoid it. Specifically, I'm gonna be working in Claude just because that's the most common thing right now, I would say. Now again, I've spent over 1,000 hours with AI tools. No joke. And I haven't even been in it that long. A lot of people have been messing with AI since the beginning. I've only gotten into agents about 8 months ago, but I grinded. I've built businesses and I've learned these tools. So if you want, steal the stack, build whatever you want to build because you can do it. Trust me, I have faith in you that you can do it. And if you want some more help, I have a school community. It's completely free. Go ahead and join it. And I actually even post some links to tools and agents that I've built and some secret things that you might not find on YouTube here. So check out that first link in the description.